Shifting over to Nucor Steel. This is a very interesting organization in that it is super, super flat and decentralized. The flat hierarchy really makes it necessary that it has to structure with the network support itself, okay, in that there is so little levels of management that individuals at one level are pretty much having to focus on their peers in other parts of the organization. So while the hierarchy still exists, they've gone to the extreme of cutting out as many intermediate levels as possible from top to bottom. This has the real benefit of distributed decision-making across the organization. It also has an autonomy with a cultural emphasis on experimentation. And this is really from the very beginning of when they disrupted the steel industry with their business model of the mini mills, but then to some extent also continued that disruption with their style of operation. In that throughout the organization, there is a constant desire to learn and experiment with new ways of doing things and new ways of thinking about the business itself. What's interesting is that while the experimentation takes place and great learning takes place, there is no standardization of that new learning. But there is wide sharing across the organization of what is learned. So it's like everybody is designed their experiments within their local area. They are learning, and then similar to this type of sharing, there are numerous conferences, not only online, but visitations of other places or global conferences within Nucor personnel where they share their practices. And they basically tell what they did, what they learned, and in the process, the different parts of their organization that might be their peer, they don't necessarily have to adopt it at all, but they can learn from it and see how they can adapt it to their particular situation. So there's great opportunity there for change across the organization, but very informally done. It does come, though, with some limitations in that it's got a good end state, but Nucor really developed this structure over the life of the organization. And when you take a look at their current state, and we're trying to compare it to a traditional hierarchy, it is very difficult to figure out how to do a transition pathway because it is such a dramatic change and there's no parts that can be pulled out and used separately. It's also built on trust. I'm not sure if that's a problem, but a lot of organizations, again, if you were to transition to this structure, it would be very difficult because trust would have to be established first. So one of the limitations then is which comes first, the trust or the flat decentralized structure, vice versa. It also comes with some employee development of really the culture and how they do the operations themselves.